Before he turned 20, Ethan almost agreed to spend the rest of his life living someone else's dream. He was only 17, and already he felt exhausted. Not the kind of exhaustion that disappears after a good night's sleep. The kind that comes from pretending to be someone you're not. Maybe you've felt it too. Ethan lived in a quiet town where everyone's future seemed to be decided before they were old enough to choose it. His father was an engineer. His grandfather had been an engineer. His uncles were engineers. So whenever relatives visited, they smiled at Ethan and said, "One day, you'll make a fine engineer too." Nobody ever asked what Ethan wanted. At first, he didn't mind. Then, slowly, he stopped answering altogether because the truth felt too impossible to say out loud. Every night, after his parents had gone to bed, Ethan pulled an old sketchbook from beneath his bed. Its pages were filled with places that didn't exist. Floating cities, quiet forests, lonely streets glowing under the evening sky. When he drew, the noise inside his head disappeared. For a little while, he felt like himself. As graduation grew closer, the pressure grew heavier. Every conversation was about entrance exams. Every weekend meant extra coaching classes. Every mistake felt like proof he wasn't trying hard enough. One afternoon, while walking through the school hallway, Ethan noticed a poster, National Young Artists Competition. The winning students would receive scholarships to a prestigious design program. His heart raced. He quietly tore off a registration form and slipped it into his notebook. For the first time in months, he felt excited about the future. That night, while everyone slept, he filled out the application. Then he smiled. It wasn't a big decision, but it was his. The next evening, everything changed. As Ethan sat down for dinner, his father placed a folded piece of paper on the table. It was the application form. It had fallen out of Ethan's notebook. His father looked at him. "What's this?" Ethan hesitated. "It's an art competition." Silence. Then his father sighed. "Art is a hobby, Ethan." He slowly tore the paper in half. "Dreams don't always pay the bills." No shouting, no anger, just disappointment. For some reason, that hurt even more. That night, Ethan didn't open his sketchbook. He stared at the ceiling and wondered if growing up simply meant giving up the things you loved. The next day, his art teacher, Mr. Acaffer, noticed something was wrong. After class, he quietly asked Ethan to stay behind. Without saying a word, he placed one of Ethan's forgotten drawings on the desk. It showed a small town at sunset. Every window glowed with warm light. Every street felt alive. Mr. Acaffer looked at Ethan and smiled. "You made this?" Ethan nodded. "It's just a drawing." Mr. Acaffer shook his head. "No, it's a piece of you." Ethan looked away. "My dad says it won't become anything." Mr. Acaffer was silent for a moment. Then he said, 7 words Ethan would never forget. "Don't apologize for what makes you feel alive." That was all. No long speech. Just 7 simple words. But sometimes, a single sentence can change the direction of a life. That night, Ethan picked up his pencil again. Not because he suddenly believed everything would work out, but because he realized something. If he stopped drawing, he would lose something far more important than a career. He would lose himself. For 3 hours, he drew without checking the time, and for the first time in months, the weight on his chest became just a little lighter. With Mr. Acaffer's encouragement, Ethan rebuilt his application. He submitted his portfolio just hours before the deadline. Then he waited. Weeks passed. Finally, an email arrived. His hands shook as he opened it. He wasn't selected. Rejected. Ethan quietly closed his laptop. For a few days, he didn't draw at all. Maybe everyone had been right. Maybe talent wasn't enough. Maybe dreams were only meant for other people. Then, a week later, another email appeared. One of the judges had seen potential in his work. Although he hadn't won, he had been invited to join a mentorship program for young artists. It wasn't the prize he wanted, but it was another chance. And sometimes, one chance is all a person needs. The mentorship helped Ethan build a stronger portfolio. A year later, he earned a partial scholarship to study design. It wasn't easy. He worked part-time. He doubted himself often, but every project reminded him why he had started, because every drawing felt honest. Every step felt like his own. 2 years later, Ethan held his first public exhibition. People slowly walked through the gallery, stopping in front of paintings that had once existed only inside his sketchbook. Near the end of the room stood his father. He stared quietly at a painting of their hometown at dusk. After several minutes, he finally spoke. "When I was your age." He paused. "I wanted to become a musician." Ethan looked at him in surprise. "I never told anyone. I thought being responsible meant forgetting that dream." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then his father placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "I'm glad you were braver than I was." In that moment, Ethan understood something he had never realized before. His father had never been trying to destroy his dream. He had simply been trying to protect him from the regrets he carried himself. Here's what Ethan's story teaches us. Most people don't lose themselves in one big decision. They lose themselves through hundreds of small ones. By saying maybe later. By hiding what they love. By becoming the person everyone expects. If you're still young, don't rush to have your entire life figured out. Instead, pay attention to the things that make you feel alive. Protect them. Work hard for them. Because success means very little if it costs you the person you were meant to become. Ethan is 24 now. His life isn't perfect. He still works hard. He still faces challenges. But every morning, he wakes up excited to begin. Not because life became easier, but because, at last, he's living his own. If Ethan's story stayed with you, maybe it wasn't just his story. Maybe part of it was yours. Welcome to English Growth Stories, where every story helps you grow your English while discovering something meaningful about life. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe and join us for the next story. It might be exactly the one you need.